Sorry, didn't see you there. But while I got you, I'm going to share with you some history and facts about tech and computers in general. So the first digital computer was called the ENIAC, and that was invented in 1946, according to a journal published by the University of Auckland. And next was the first personal computer, was called the Altair, and that was invented in 1974, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica. And one cool fact to show how fast technology has progressed is that the smartphone in your very pocket is more powerful than all the computers NASA had combined during the Apollo missions, uh, according to TheAtlantic.com. Now, I'm going to jump into my background in technology. I have always loved technology from a very young age. I built my first computer when I was 12. This is my most recent computer I built. It's my pride and joy. And my passion for technology has taken me to crazy places I never thought it would. I first started learning computer programming when I was 16 and started doing it professionally when I was 18. And the cool thing about computer programming is a lot like the trades, where you don't need a formal education to do it. If you can prove that you have the skills to do it, you can go out there and get a job doing it. And I've been a professional programmer for about 6 years through a freelance website called Fiverr. And while I love computer programming, I decided I needed a change of pace in my life. I wasn't quite happy sitting in front of a computer for as long as I was, about sometimes 10 up to 12 hours a day. And actually, one day I was watching a video about new technology, as I often do, and I came across heat pumps, and they piqued my interest. And as I learned more, I found out that not only does the HVAC industry as a whole pay very well, but they're specifically in need of people who understand computers and software for the controls side of it. So I decided to go to college and get a degree in HVAC technology in the hopes of going into building automation. So my passion for technology is actually the very reason that I'm standing here in front of you giving this very speech. So now that you know a little bit about tech and my connection with it, allow me to deprogram some misconceptions about tech nerds. Now, my first trope I wanted to tackle was that tech nerds hate the outdoors. Now, this can't be farther from the truth. I wanted to quote a research survey done by the University of Utah, where they surveyed a bunch of new tech employees moving to the state, and 80% of those employees surveyed said that they were moving to Utah due to the access to outdoor recreation. And like I just said, I was switching jobs in the tech field to be able to be outdoors more. So this whole trope can just not be farther from the truth. And the next trope I wanted to tackle was that tech nerds and kind of nerds in general are antisocial. And this just also cannot be further from the truth. There are so many social events centered around technology. On the professional side, there's CES, where there's a lot of networking and professional parties done. But on the enthusiast side, there's these events called maker fairs, where people get together and they make machines and robots and experiment with new technology. And I'm actually submitting a robot. I'll put a picture of it here. I'm working on a new iteration, hopefully with less duct tape. Um, and people get together at these maker fairs over their passion of technology. And there's just a lot of fun parties happening and socialization. So these sort of events just would not be occurring if the trope was true that we're antisocial. Now that you've processed what a real tech nerd looks like, let's upload, see what I did there? Some lingo to impress your favorite tech enthusiast. The best way to impress the tech enthusiast in your life is just to learn more about tech in general. And if you're interested in learning about tech, a great resource is YouTube, specifically a channel called Linus Tech Tips. They do a great job of explaining technology, all sorts of types of it in great ways and from really interesting angles. So I definitely hit them up. But next, I'm going to go over the basic components of a computer and the lingo used around them. Now, I got the definitions for these from kitchentablecomputers.com. And I'm going to start out with a CPU. This is a CPU on the little computer that I'm using on my project. CPU stands for Central Processing Unit, and that's the main brain of the computer. The CPU on my computer here is under this cooler here. Next is the GPU. This stands for Graphical Processing Unit. This is a GPU and that is a GPU. And that handles all of the visual side of the processing on the computer. Next is the RAM. This here is the RAM on my computer, those glowing sticks. And that stands for Random Access Memory. That is all the short-term memory that the CPU needs to pull from is stored there. Next is the PSU. That might be a little difficult to see, but that's this black box here. That stands for Power Supply Unit, and that takes the power from the wall and then transfers it all to the components inside the computer. Next is a motherboard. That might also be a little difficult to see. It's this big black chip all in the back here that everything connects to. It's kind of like the spinal cord of the computer and allows all the components to communicate to one another. And lastly, I wanted to cover storage. Now, in this computer, I use something called an SSD. That stands for Solid State Drive, and that is the newest form of storage. I would show you, but it's hidden under a bunch of coolers. It basically looks like just a little chip. Now, I'm going to pass you back to that little cutie over there to wrap this speech up.